In this tutorial, we'll take a look at the site layout for our Dojo project so that we can see what we're going to be working with. Now right now I have the index.html document pulled up, and we have kind of a standard setup right now. We don't have any script information, nor do we have any style information set up in our HTML document right now. I'm going to go ahead and click on the design button, and you'll see that essentially we have our columns here, but of course they're not columns yet because no cascading style sheet information has been applied. So essentially we have a list, and we're going to be using that list for our selection of blog topics. We have a slideshow placeholder. We also have a placeholder for our survey, and underneath that we have our blog contents placeholder. I'm going to jump back to my code view. We're going to be working with this index quite a bit because we're going to need to add in cascading style sheet information as well as modifying the HTML so that it will work with our Dojo implementations correctly. Now over here in my site definition, I also have a styles folder, and inside of that I've got the main.css, and I'll go ahead and open that up. And as you can see, we do have some styles already defined, and whenever we apply this, it's going to make our page look a whole lot better instantly. So some good information in here, including, we have a header that is going to be a certain size. Now inside of the body we have a container that's going to be holding all the other information, which is right here. Then we have a sidebar 1, which is going to be floating to the left, a sidebar 2, which is going to be floating to the right. Then we have a main content. That's where our blog contents are going to end up going. And of course, we're going to need to be adding in additional cascading style sheet rules for our other elements that we're going to be adding in. We'll go ahead and open up the scripts folder here. Now in scripts, you'll see that we have a number of items. We have images.json. This is a JSON document that is holding information about the images we're going to be plugging into our slideshow. We also have the Dojo scripts. I'll go ahead and open that up. And Dojo scripts is just blank. This is where I'm going to be adding in all of my own JavaScript code. Now underneath that, you'll see I've got these little folders with slashes through them. In Dreamweaver that means that they're cloaked, which means I'm not going to be uploading them. The reason why I have them here though is to show you how, if you're going to have your scripts downloaded and in a local folder, how you're going to need to reference those. If I go ahead and open up the Dojo folder, I'll see that there are a bunch of different JavaScript files. If I continue to scroll on down, I will end up seeing dojo.js. That's actually the one that I'm going to need to reference for my local script referencing. We'll see that in just a moment. Now continuing on our little tour here, we have the processors folder, and inside that I've got post comment and get blog entries. Go ahead and take a look at get blog entries here. We've got some good little PHP code that's going to be checking various requests and then returning results. And the results that it will be returning here for our blog. It's going to have a class called inspectable, which we'll work with later. It's going to have the title, followed by the date, the body, and then a hyperlink to more in the category. And we're going to have different conditions for our results from this page. We have the condition to where we have a default if we're not passing any parameters over, which is just going to grab all from our blog entry, order it by date, and limit 10. We also have where we're doing the category equals all, where we're going to return all from our blog entries and order by date. We're not limiting at that time. And then the one that's up here at the top is we're checking and seeing what the category is. In the event that the category is not all, which means it's going to give us any of the other category names that we've set up. Alright, so that's our get blog entries. We'll take a look at that again later. We've got post comment, and this is going to take care of when someone submits a comment. It's a very simple script here. It's inserting our form data into our table comments. And as you can see, we're using a post method here with no return. So those are our two processors there. We also have some images we're going to be working with. And we do have two different images here, a thumbnail and a full-size image. But really all we need for this is the full-size image, because our full-size image isn't all that big. But however, if you wanted to, you could end up using these thumbnails because they are defined in the JSON file that we're going to be working with as well. So we got a number of images here for our slideshow, as well as elements for our page. And then lastly, there's the connections, which is just simple PHP connections to our database. And I'm going to go ahead and open up the images.json. File and open. I'll go to my site root, scripts. Notice how it's not showing up here. It's not showing up because Dreamweaver doesn't know that JSON is actually a JavaScript file. If I change this to all files, it shows up, and whenever I select it and hit open, it will open up. So here you see the return for the JSON, where we have our thumbnail, our image, a title, and a link. I don't have a link set up in here because I chose not to implement linking, because I wanted to implement a different feature. Now, as you can see here, it is using the thumbnail setting as well as the image setting. Now, this JSON sample that you're seeing is quite versatile whenever it comes to some of our other Dojo X widgets. So I just wanted to show that to you. Now, that's more or less an overview of what our site contains. And with that in mind, we're going to go ahead and get started.